What's up, agents? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. Today's build video is all about options. Whether you're a brand new agent just hitting level 40, someone returning after a long break, or a veteran looking to optimize, I've got you covered. I'll be walking you through 3 versions of the same build concept, starting with a beginner-friendly loadout, then stepping it up with a more advanced setup, and finally showing you the version I'm currently using. For each one, I'll include a best-in-slot recommendation, but also offer solid alternatives so you can build around what you have, not what the algorithm says you should have. The goal? A build that feels good, hits hard, and won't fail you during heroic missions or control point. Here we go. A quick note before we get started. Like I mentioned in the beginning, this isn't about chasing the meta or showing off ultra-rare gear. I know not every agent has access to exotics, named pieces, or perfectly rolled stats, especially if you're new, returning, or just haven't been grinding non-stop. That's why I've broken things down into 3 build tiers. One for beginners, one that's more advanced, and one that reflects what I'm currently running. Each version includes best in-slot picks, but also realistic alternatives, so no one gets left behind. The goal here is simple. Builds that work, that feel good, and that let you enjoy the game, no matter where you're at. So let's dive in. So what's the playstyle here? This isn't a run-and-gun YOLO corner-poppin' build. This is for agents who like to own the battlefield, hold angles, control the mid-range, and win fights with positioning and consistency. It's perfect for control points, bounties, open-world activities, even heroic missions, and the best part? It doesn't fall apart solo. If you're the kind of player who enjoys clean fights, reliable cover-based combat, and not having to chase every meta trend, yeah, you'll like this. First, let's get this one out of the way as it's an easy choice. You'll start this build with the gunner specialization for a small increase in RPM and some armor on kill. Plus, it will generate 10% of total ammo capacity every 60 seconds. With the specialization out of the way, every good build starts with a solid weapon platform. So let's take a look at what's in your hands when the shooting starts. For this build, the assault rifle is your bread and butter, and you've got options. In no particular order, these are my top picks. First, the Kingbreaker. It comes with the talent Perfect Flatline and pairs beautifully with Pulse skills. If you don't have it, farm for its baby brother, the non-named TKB 408. The level 40 base damage for both of these weapons is 63,508 damage. The only noticeable difference is the difference between Flatline and Perfect Flatline, and that's all of 5%. It does make a difference, but not as much as you think. Second, the Police M4 for a fast rate of fire and excellent control. Third, a Carbine 7, one of the most balanced ARs in the game. And fourth, the FAMAS, one of the best all-around AR in my opinion, of course. If you prefer more stability, go Police M4. If you want a slower rhythm and better base damage, go with the Carbine 7. And if you want a hard hitter with a slower rhythm, TKB 408 or Kingbreakers are best in class in sustained DPS. The AKM you could also use, as its base damage is higher than the TKB 408 and Kingbreaker, but due to its longer reload time, which is 2.3 seconds versus 1.87 seconds for the Kingbreaker, it has a less sustained DPS than the other two. But you can use whatever feels good to you. The weapon talents to look for: Flatline, especially if you're using the Scanner Pulse skill; Frenzy for increased damage and rate of fire; Measured for faster uptime and reload rhythm; or Strained for some added crit hit damage the more you shoot. On the lesser scale, you could also go with Ranger or Killer. Bottom line, choose what fits your aim, rhythm, and how you like to play. Don't overthink it. For your secondary weapon, I suggest you use a weapon type that is different from your primary. My suggestion is a good rifle, LMG, or SMG with a complementary talent to the one you're using on your primary. Don't put hours into this part, as you'll mainly be using your primary. Now you've got the firepower, let's wrap it in armor that supports your job. To start, I'll first focus on a more new player-friendly version, and then I'll outline a more advanced one, and finally, I'll present the build I'm currently using for anyone who wanted to know what my build was. For the first build, please remember you can fit the pieces however you want, or with whichever you have. Let's start with the mask and add 1 Grupo Sombra for crit hit damage. For the backpack, we'll go with 1 Seska for crit hit chance. Now for the talent, you have several choices. I would use Unstoppable Force, but if you feel comfortable with its drawbacks, you could add Vigilance instead, or possibly Bloodsucker for more survivability. Then, we add one Fenris chest piece for plus 10% assault rifle damage. Side note, you can also invert the chest and backpack if you want. End result is the same, and it could help you create the build sooner if you find one before the other. For the talent, again, you have options. I would use Obliterate for increased weapon damage, but if you can live with its drawbacks, you could use Glass Cannon or Overwatch for the extra damage while remaining in cover. For the gloves, I would add one Fenris, boosting the reload speed by plus 30%, as this would be our second Fenris piece, helping you to stay dangerous in battle. For the holster, you can go one of two ways. Either you add more weapon damage or add some survivability. For more weapon damage, add a Walker Harris for plus 5% weapon damage, or for survivability, add a Palisade Steelworks for 10% armor on kill. Finally, for the knee pads, this last one depends on if you decided on weapon damage or survivability for your holster. If you chose survivability, I would then add the Walker Harris here for the plus 5% weapon damage, and if you already decided on weapon damage for your holster, you can double down on damage by adding a second Walker Harris, which will add plus 5% damage to armor, or you can add more survivability and choose a Bellstone Armory and add plus 1% armor regeneration. This truly depends on your level of comfort with the game's mechanics. If you have great movement and aim, more damage equals faster fights, and if you don't, you'll want to be able to take at least some hits so you can reposition during a fight. For your skills, you can pick in synergy to the weapon talent you opted to go with on your AR. If you opted for Flatline, Scanner Pulse and Reviver Hive, and then for any other talent, Crusader Shield and Reviver Hive. Before moving on to the next version, please also note there is nothing stopping you from farming any of the pieces listed in the next version I'm about to outline. What I mean by this is, you can absolutely use the targeted loot feature on your map to look for the striker symbol and just play in that area or do the mission or activity over and over until you have at least one piece for each item you're looking for. Again, before I start, I will outline possibilities and replacement parts, especially when it comes to exotics and named items. Your specialization for this build is once again the gunner for all the reasons we outlined before. For weapons, at the moment of making this video, the best in-class assault rifle is the St. Elmo's Engine Exotic AR. It offers amazing synergy with the Striker for maximum DPS due to its high RPM, quick reload, as well as its 70 bullets magazine. Plus the shock rounds every 100 stacks is an awesome addition. If you don't have the St. Elmo's Engine, you can use any of the weapons we outlined in our first build. A Kingbreaker or TKB 408, Police M4, Carbine 7, or FAMAS, as always paired with a good offensive talent. Your choice. Your secondary, pick a different weapon type with a complementary talent as we outlined before as well. Let's start with the mask and add our first piece of Striker. For the backpack, we add the exotic Memento. Memento, of course, adds the talent Kill Confirmed. Enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting trophies provides you with both a short and long-term buff, the first of which scales with the number of corresponding core attributes equipped and lasts 10 seconds. So you get plus 5% weapon damage per weapon core, then plus 10% bonus armor per armor core, and plus 5% skill efficiency per skill core. Lastly, for every trophy collected, you'll gain an additional plus 1% weapon damage, plus 1% skill efficiency, as well as plus 0.1% armor regeneration for 300 seconds, 5 minutes. If you don't have the Memento backpack, you can replace it by adding one Seska backpack for plus 8% crit hit chance and pair it with the Obliterate talent. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, stacks up to 25 times. Then add one chest piece of your choosing, either a Seska for plus 8% crit hit chance, or a Grupo for plus 13% crit hit damage, or Fenris for plus 10% assault rifle damage. For the talent, again you have options. I would use Obliterate for increased weapon damage, or you can use Glass Cannon or Overwatch as we previously presented. Please remember, however, When choosing for your chest piece, if you don't have the Memento backpack and replaced it with a Seska, pick either the Grupo or Fenris for your chest piece. If it were me, I would choose the Fenris for plus 10% assault rifle damage. For the gloves, we add our second piece of Striker. For the holster, our third piece of Striker. And finally, for the knee pads, we add our final Striker piece, activating Striker's Gamble. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. 1 stack lost per second between 0 and 50, and 2 stacks lost per second between 51 and 100. This build hits like a train, plus you have some survivability with the Memento backpack. For our last and final AR build, this is the one I'm personally using when I play on stream, or that you can sometimes see in the back of my videos. This build has fully optimized weapons and gear, and fits me as a player. However, the mods are not maxed out. First and foremost, I'm using the Technician Specialization, which gives me 1 skill tier, making my drone a bit more dangerous. This is a great way to express what I mean when I tell you to follow your playstyle over what the current meta tells us to do. Yes, the gunner would work extremely well, but it gives no benefits to my drone, while the Technician actually does. I tried both, not at the range, but in the game world and in missions, and to me, I feel more comfortable knowing my drone can add good damage and last longer, which fits my playstyle. So let's start with the mask and add our first piece of Striker. For the backpack, I'm using 1 Bellstone Armory for 1% armor regeneration. For the talent, I added Bloodsucker for the plus 10% bonus armor on kill for 10 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. Then, 1 Fenris chest piece for plus 10% assault rifle damage. For the talent, I'm using Obliterate for increased weapon damage. For the gloves, we add the second Striker piece, then our third piece of Striker for the holster, and then finally, the last Striker piece for the knee pads. I get good survivability and some help with the Reviver Hive, plus the drone plays a key role in, of course, adding some damage, but more importantly, creating some diversion, helping me address imminent threats. As we get near the end of the video, let's take a step back, look at our beginner-friendly build, and ask why does that build work together so well? Here's what really makes this build special. This build works because it never overextends. It's all about consistent uptime. You're not waiting on exotic perks, not dependent on kill chains, and you don't need perfect aim or 100% crit rolls to feel effective. You control the pace, you win cover fights, you reload with confidence, and best of all, it scales with you. As your gear improves, this build just gets stronger. Here's a quick on-screen recap for those who want to copy or screenshot the loadouts. Please feel free to pause the video in order to do so. If you've made it this far or the video has helped you out, hit that subscribe button, as it's the best way to support the channel and be a part of what we're building here. Drop a like and let me know in the comments how you tweak it. I read them all. In the next video, we're diving into the tank build and a few variants I think you'll really enjoy. Thanks again for watching. Welcome to the Alliance. I'll see you out there, agents.